Welcome back to Asana. Once you have created your username and password, um, when you come to your project, again, you'll be selecting on your name here. You only probably see your name and Asana Basics Training here. This is what you'll look like once you're on your project and you click on your project. So there's a general onboarding here that we're going to go over. We're going to go over some of the advice and what we're going to do here just on the onboarding process for Asana. So some of the advice on the program is when you get your macros, prescribed when I come up with each week of what your daily caloric intake and your macronutrients are going to be. Your goal is going to be able to stay within 5 grams of your protein and 5 grams of your carbohydrates. The reason being for that is there's 4 calories and 1 gram of both of those. So that gives you 20 calories of wiggle room within your protein and your carbs every day. Fats are more calorically dense, so there's actually 9 calories per 1 gram of fat. So for your goals, you're going to try to stay within 3 grams of your fat on a daily basis. So when I mentioned previously on one of the other videos that there's 21 chances a week, you have 3 chances every day, once on protein, once on carbs, and once on fat. Our goal is going to be to try to get 18 out of 21 every week. Again, obviously 19, 20, 21 is better, but the goal is trying to get at least 18 out of 21 every week. Number 2, can't say this enough, is you got to be 100% truthful. You do have to weigh and measure all of your food, including your greens, spinach, vegetables, broccoli. They still all have calories to some extent. 100% truthful. Got to log everything we're putting in. Don't let one bad day turn into 2 bad days. I can't say this, and I can't emphasize this enough as well. Listen, there are going to be days you do not hit your macros. It's going to happen. There are going to be days where you don't hit them or aren't even close, just for whatever's going on, whether you have a lot of stress going on in your life. I get that. We're all human beings. The only thing I ask is that, 1, you're truthful, and 2, don't let one bad day turn into another bad day. Okay. I know how it is sometimes, you have one bad day and then you wake up and, well, yesterday was bad. I might as well just eat whatever I want to eat today. No, start every day fresh. If you nailed it yesterday, nail it again today. If you had a bad day yesterday, nail it today. So really just stay true to yourself, and don't let multiple days turn into a bad week. If you have one day in a bad week, I can live with that, but I don't want a whole bad week or 4 or 5 bad days in one week. A little bit of advice is, if you can, try to log your food beforehand. I know breakfast can be very difficult at times because you're rushing out the door trying to get to work. If you have kids, family, commitments, everyone's got things they got to do. So breakfast sometimes is a challenge. I mean, if you can do it the night before, great. But realistically, I know breakfast can be tough. However, normally lunch and dinner is a little bit easier to log beforehand. So what I'll try to do is make sure I have a solid breakfast, and then I will start planning out my day before I actually have it, so that by the time I need to go eat that meal, I'm not guessing last minute or I'm starving and I just need to have something. I have a plan and I can execute my plan. So try to log everything before you eat it if you can. I highly recommend steamable vegetables with all meals if you can. It gets you a lot of volume with your food without costing a lot of calories. They're not calorically dense. I buy a lot of steamable vegetable packs. I also do a lot of cauliflower rice. If you're not eating cauliflower rice, you can completely get rid of rice, in my opinion. Use cauliflower rice. It gives you the same similar texture with a whole heck of a lot less calories, and you still get the volume of what the rice would give you. And then lastly, the last huge piece of advice I have for you is, many of you are going to be eating more protein than you're used to, simply for the fact that a lot of people do not consume enough protein, and therefore they don't feel full. You're going to be eating more protein, so hopefully going through this macro program, you're not feeling hungry. And what I recommend is to try to get that first meal to have a large consistency of your protein for the day. Most people tend to eat carbs and fats later in the evening as they snack. And so if you can try to save some of those carbs and fats for later in the evening by eating a lot of the protein early on in the day, it's going to help you. It's going to help manage the program for you. And I think it's just going to be a little bit easier. Again, doesn't necessarily work for everybody, but I have found it works for myself and for many of the clients I've worked with. That's it for the advice. As far as the onboarding goes, we'll make sure, if you haven't already, you're going to want to download the MyFitnessPal app, create your username there, set up your macro goals, which we'll get to in a second, and make sure you give access to me. We'll go through this on our intro call, and I'll check these off to make sure those have been completed. Additionally, we'll go over a check-in schedule. Once a week, I like to check in with everybody. Again, if I'm seeing you daily at the gym, I may not need to actually have a phone call with you, but for those of you who I don't see personally, it's going to be important for me to check in once a week and spend 15, 20 minutes on the phone with you, just kind of seeing how things are going. And we'll go from there. The next video, we'll go over and we'll get into the breakdown of what your goals and where you're going to find everything and how you're going to communicate with me. Thank you.